He had Grit Week this week, so that's why we moved the schedule a little bit. Are you back in town, Big Cat?
I am back. Grit Week was a success. I am back.
What was the highlights of Grit Week? I saw some of it, but we were at Bears camp so much. What was your highlight?
Don't apologize for being a busy guy. You got a lot going on. I don't know. I think we went to Travis Pastrana. He has Pastrana Land in Maryland. He's one of the most famous motocross guys, and we got to ride around, do like crazy jumps. That was pretty cool. In his little like forerunners, and Eagles camp was pretty cool too. We got some really good interviews at Eagles camp.
Who's the grittiest person you've ever met in your entire life, Big Cat?
It's you. No,
other than me,
Jim Harbaugh. Did you guys see that last night? Him talking before the Hall of Fame game. He needs to be in every Hall of Fame game because.
Yes.
The game doesn't matter, but it matters to Jim Harbaugh. Like he would never cheat the game and not give full effort in the Hall of Fame game. I think it should just be automatically, even when he's retired from coaching, he comes back and he coaches a Hall of Fame game.
It's so good, and I'm glad you let us into it. I want to play that. On NBC last night, they interviewed him before the game. And this is what Big Cat was just alluding to. Jim Harbaugh, it's like a poem, basically, to
It was
football.
Chris Sims interviewing him, right?
Yeah, Chris Sims. It's like a poem to football.
Yeah.
This is how much this guy loves football. And none of us really cared about the game, but it mattered to Jim Harbaugh. Take a listen.
When you're growing up, you just – and football chooses you. You choose football. You have that love. You have that passion. You have that joy for football. And you walk over to the Hall of Fame like we did as a team, and you see all your heroes. I mean, back to George Halas and Jim Thorpe and Bronco Nagurski to Dan Fouts who's standing there. I mean, just all those kind of emotions start rushing back to you, And then here you drive the bus and you go back into Canton McKinley High School,
right.
and you walk through the hallways to get to your locker room, and then you start thinking about your high school days and then, we're back out here into the locker room getting ready to play pro football game and just feel so blessed to, it's almost, these full circle things are happening, and, for our guys, we got the license, we got the ability to someday you guys got the ability and license to end your career
right.
in Canton with one of those gold jackets. So, super fired up.
How about that, Big Cat?
I could hear him talk about that football forever. It's just so good. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, football's not back, preseason doesn't matter. There's something about that first preseason game, seeing the colors on the TV, seeing the helmets, seeing the, Mike and Chris in the booth. It feels like we're right there. It's the best feeling in the world.
I constantly feel like I need to remind people that is 100% authentic as well. Anybody who thinks that that's Jim Harbaugh just playing a role, Jim Harbaugh doesn't play a role.
Was
that's
that like
Jim
him at 25, though?
No.
Yes.
Now, at the age of 25,
right.
It was different.
Yeah.
But in some ways, yes. There are legendary stories about how, I do believe in the area where he lived at a townhouse. At one point on July 4th, there was a July 4th where they were playing volleyball in the backyard, Caposo, him, and a couple of other guys. It got so rambunctious and so
competitive,
so over the top and competitive, the local police had to come.
Oh, boy.
That's a true story.
I believe it.
But that's who Jim Harbaugh is. That's who he is. He's not,
He's the guy who said, he's quoted many times saying all he's ever wanted to do was play football and then coach football and then die. That's it. That's the plan. Those are the only three things he wants to do.
And by the way, I was jacked about last night's game until I actually sat down.
Exactly.
And I watched 3 plays, and I was no longer jacked that football was there. I'm happy that football season is here.
Right.
But I wasn't as invested in last night's game as I thought I was going to be.
It's more symbolic.
Yes.
Yeah. Big Cat, I wanted to ask you this.
Bet on it. If you bet on it,
I know. Everything's
true.
an opportunity for you. I'll tell you about a couple of future bets I made on the Bears. But first, I teased this And I want to ask you and Waddle this. I don't know if you followed the Micah Parsons thing all day. It's the typical drama in Dallas.
Yep.
But he wrote like a whole thing that, he doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. What would you guys say that if the Bears acquired him this year but didn't re-sign him, and then they just let him walk at the end of the year and got 1 year out of him after giving up a couple of first-round picks and something else? Are you guys in favor?
No.
That doesn't happen though in the NFL. I know what you're alluding to here. I like the connection you're making.
Yes.
But
Kyle Tucker.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one thing the NFL does right. Where whatever team trades for Micah Parsons, and I also am of the belief that I would still put the favorite of him staying in Dallas because that just kind of is how it works out a lot of times. But if you in the NFL, when you trade for a guy, the contract's already written up before you do the trade. You know what I mean? The numbers are already agreed to. You don't trade for a guy like that and only have him for a year.
I agree with you 1,000%. I know that's not even legitimate, 100%. Look, if you're going to give up 2 first-round picks, you're not going to let him leave in 1 year. You're not a Micah Parsons away from winning the Super Bowl.
My question is...
I know.
It was more like Big Cat picked up on. It was more about why did the Cubs end up doing that? And everyone's like, oh, that's cool. We'll handle it when the season's over. You would never want you would never want the Bears to give up a bunch of stuff, get Micah Parsons here for a year, and let him walk in the prime of his career like the Cubs could do with Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can differentiate the two.
You can't. They're the same. It's the same principle. It really is. It's the same principle that you're getting. Here's the thing. And the Cubs deadline, I know you guys talked about it a lot yesterday, but it's obviously fresh in the mind. The Kyle Tucker trade is and the Cody Bellinger, freeing up cash. Those are we're going for it moves because you have a limited window with Kyle Tucker. And then they went opposite of that at the trade deadline where they're not going for it. And you could tell me that the price is too high and whatever you want to throw out there. I think, though, I went to bed. Sylvia and I were texting last night. I went to bed angry, and then I woke up, and I saw Jed's comments about being like, well, we never want to get too high and too low and, go through really bad cycles. And I think he's telling everyone the truth there, where the Cubs, as we see, going forward and what Tom Ricketts wants, is he wants a team that will be competitive in the division but never competitive for the World Series unless they can do it on a bunch of, incredible draft picks that all align at the same time. That's really what he's saying. They're not going to be a Yankees or Dodgers, even though they have the financial abilities to do it. They're going to be a team that is going to always try to have a few good players, play at the fringes, try to win the Central, and then be like, hey, maybe we get lucky. And that's all that they did on yesterday. They basically said, we're going to hope that everyone on this roster plays to their absolute maximum ability in October, and then maybe we'd make the World Series. Otherwise, we're not a World Series team.
Which is what's most frustrating, I would think, for Cub fans, because you are one of the benefits of being a big market team with the revenue streams that this team has is you can buy yourself out of self-inflicted wounds. You can buy yourself out of mistakes. You're not always going to make every decision. Not every decision is going to work. But the benefit that you have that the Pirates don't, or even the Reds don't, or some of the other small market teams don't, is you have the revenue to buy yourself out of some of your mistakes. And they don't even look at it that way. They look at it, as you just described, Big Cat, as if you are a mid-market team. You're the Pirates, or you are the Reds. Or even like the Milwaukee, the Brewers don't get the revenue even close to what the Cubs have.
Right, and it's very frustrating that it was, the Kyle Tucker thing. I actually, Sylvia, I want to hear what you think of this. They should have traded Kyle Tucker yesterday.
Oh, no, you're not like this. We've had 3 callers. You're the 4th person to suggest this. That's ridiculous.
Those guys are smart. You're not going to re-sign him. It's just not going to happen. I'll be shocked if it happens at this point. Why wouldn't you? If your whole strategy is to cost-controlled young guys all in the same timeline, trade Kyle Tucker yesterday. Trade him and get some pitching and get some more, and then hope those guys come up, and then you're like, all right, we'll
Joey
just have
G,
a window.
yeah.
of
Big
PCA.
Cat.
You get the second best record in Major League Baseball. You've got a National League currently that nobody scares the hell out of you. Like, you're there. You're on the doorstep. Trading Kyle Tucker takes you off the doorstep.
They're not. Here's a fun one. All right, so here's both of you guys. If, like, let's think of a World Series champion. What spot in the rotation would Boyd and Shota be?
I know what you're after. I would say
God,
Shota would be a 2. No, he would be a 2. Yes, he would.
No, I like
He's a
Shota
2.
a lot. He would not be a 2 on a World Series champion. On a champion.
Sure. Especially in
No.
today's day and age, he'd be a
No.
2. And Boyd,
No.
now, I was not thrilled about Boyd, but the way he is pitched like I dare I say an ace, but he is more of a mid rotation guy.
Right, but you're lying to yourself that Shota would be a 2 on a World Series champion. You are. A 2 is a guy that you can put out on the mound and you're like, he is going to win this game.
Do you know what the Cubs' record is when Shota?
I understand, but you can't tell me that I'm talking about a World Series champion. I'm not talking about a team that makes the playoffs. And again, I like Shota. I think he's a very good pitcher. But I'm saying what you need
Shota.
to win a World Series.
Why do you hate Shota?
Is you need to win a World Series, and we saw it. You need a guy, a 1 who is like, this guy is absolute nails, and a 2. You're telling me that if Jake Arrieta and John Lester prime those 2 guys, Shota would still be a 2 over them?
Well,
now
that's a different step. I know what you did, but you don't like Shota. You have a bias against Shota, and I don't like this one bit. Shota, listen to this.
I asked a fair question, and you gave a not truthful answer.
Shota, he had an ERA last year of 2.91. He had a whip at right at 1. He struck out 174 with just 28 walks. That is incredible.
All right, so you're telling me
this year he's a tad above at 3.25.
You'd put him 2 over Jake Arrieta?
Well, I'm not comparing. Like, you're like Friedel now, where you think the only team that ever existed was the 2016 team.
No, but teams that win the World Series have aces, and they have guys that are 2s that are borderline aces as well. That's what it takes to win a World Series.
Big Cat.
I'm making the bigger point that what they did yesterday is that they said, we're not trying to win the World Series. Like, to win the World Series, you need an absolute hoss at the front of your rotation. And the Cubs don't have that.
Okay, so then you shouldn't be upset with the Cubs because they didn't get a hoss. Nobody got a hoss before the trade deadline. They don't have a hoss. So if you don't have a hoss and this team isn't
trade Kyle Tucker. Trade Kyle Tucker. Yes, correct.
This is
correct.
I don't know what happened to you on this grit week. What happened to my Big Cat?
I said I woke up at peace, and I clearly am not, because as I'm talking about, I'm getting more riled up. It's just all over the place. The thinking is all over the place. And here's the thing. The crazy part is, the Cubs are a better team today than they were a week ago.
Yes.
So it's not like Jed is not good at his job. I think Jed is good at his job. And I think that he has made good moves, and there's trades in there that he has done a really good job. It's more above Jed, where it's like, just go for it. Just start spending the money and go for it. You traded Cody Bellinger to free up $27 million. Like, what's going on? And
but he doesn't have a hoss, so what's he going for if he doesn't have a hoss?
I mean, I can't believe you guys are disagreeing with me that you need a hoss. Like, you need a hoss.
No, you're
How
right.
are you guys
Listen,
disagreeing with me?
No, I was just perusing like who the Padres have starting rotation, and obviously who the Phillies have, and the Dodgers. They haven't pitched well, but they're going to get healthy at some point. Listen, I'm not going to say you're 100% crazy, but I wouldn't be trading Kyle Tucker.
No, that's crazy. That's already done.
Listen, obviously that was drastic, but I do think that, like, there is an actual argument to be made that if you're not going to re-sign him, and I'm under that pretense, obviously I still want to re-sign him. Like, that would be the best case scenario. And that would be great because then they'd be like, hey, if they re-sign Kyle Tucker, this trade deadline looks a little different, right? Because they're basically saying, hey, we knew we had a good team. The price was too high. We kept a bunch of our chips. We re-signed Kyle Tucker. This is our core. Now we are in a chance to go all in. I am obviously assuming they're not going to re-sign Kyle Tucker. So if they do, then all of this is irrelevant. But the feeling is that they're not going to re-sign Kyle Tucker. Wouldn't you agree, Sylvie?
Yes, I'm totally on board. Let me free your mind right now of the Cubs, and I want to go to the Bears. Yesterday we had Caleb on the show. Caleb told us a story from the practice that we watched where there was a delay of game, and Ben Johnson got all over Caleb in practice. He was mad at him. He was visibly upset, and Caleb told us the story that his headset went out. The speaker, it was jumbled, the play call. So that's why there was a delay, because he was trying to hear what the right play call was, and he couldn't hear it correctly. And Ben Johnson ended up saying to him, look, in those situations, you have to have a couple plays that you're familiar with that would work in that situation, and if you can't understand me, you go with that. Waddle and me wanted to know, do you believe Ben Johnson did that on purpose, making his headset go out?
100%. 100%. I feel like this is the tough coaching that we've talked about, and I would love to send that audio clip to Eberflus, and he'd just be so confused. Like, what do you mean you can hold a couple plays in your head and you don't have to take a delay of game or sit there with a dumb face on the sidelines? This is the difference. This is my optimism in the Bears. It's Ben Johnson. Yes. Like, everything that I've read, everything that I've seen, he is coaching these guys in a way that they have not been coached in a while, and the Bears have not had a coach like this in a while, and it feels good. Like, this is what my optimism is all about. And by the way, I want to say, shout out to me. I have a lot more maturity. I'm getting more mature because I was on Grit Week. It was maybe Monday, and I was reading, everyone's tweeting about the practices and everything, and it was like, Bears don't convert a 4th and 15, and I almost threw my phone through the window, and I stopped myself, and I said, wait a second, this is practice. What are we talking about? Who cares? So I'm good. I'm staying even keel, and I'm not getting upset about, you guys have seen it, obviously, random days where oh, Caleb Williams looks terrible. The defense is dominating him. It's practice. They're overloading him right now. That's the point.
By the way, have you made a big play on the Bears over yet?
I have not. I am not going to say any loud proclamations about the Bears season until I see it on the field in Week 1 against Minnesota. They got to.
So you're not that positive. You're not that positive.
No, I'm optimistic. I'm not going to go around saying that they are going to be a playoff team or win 10 games or this or that, because I've gotten burned too many times. And you got to see it. You got to see it to believe it, right? And once we see it, then I'll start believing it.
Sylvia, have you made the play for the over yet?
I have not. No. I made some plays on overs for Bears futures.
Players.
Like Roma Dunze, Big Cat, I think he's at 800 for his total for receiving yards. Every person we have spoken to, and I know health plays a factor, believes Rome is going to lead them in passing yards this year.
Okay.
I think it's a great value right now to go jump on Rome. I put $100 down on Roma Dunze's over.
What?
That's a big play for me.
That's a giant play.
That's a 10-unit play.
Coming out of the Italy budget. Uh-oh. Gotta win that one.
That is good.
Gotta win that one.
Let me ask you this, Big Cat, and for Waddle too, because we have not really talked about it. We joked about acquiring Parsons, but let's say they were stupid and they would start fielding calls. What would you, if you're the Bears right now, what would you give up for Micah Parsons?
2 first-rounders.
I'd personally make the same deal they made for Khalil Mack.
Yep.
That was 2 first-rounders, right? And they actually got a second-rounder back. I don't know I don't know what Dallas would be willing to do or what they wouldn't be willing to do. But look, if they are a team that I think they're going to be drafted in the 20s this year, maybe 20, 18, 19, 20, 21, hopefully later. If you told me that I was giving you the first-round pick in 2025 and it was the 20th pick of the draft, and then hopefully in 2026 it's the 24th pick of the draft or 25th pick of the draft, that's value.
What
to
if
me.
they said to you, we need a third first-round pick or it's not happening? Would you guys do it?
Three's
I
too many.
I don't think so.
Yeah, three's too many because then you get into a situation where if Caleb isn't the guy, you now are like stuck in a bad
currency.
spot. You don't have any outs coming up. I think 2 first-rounders is a no-brainer. He's 26 years old. Ask yourself this: will there be a first-round guy in the next 2 years that will be better than Micah Parsons? I don't think so.
No.
So it's a no-brainer, right? Like, and the risk is obviously, you mentioned Khalil Mack is mirror image. Like, the risk is that you can go and take this swing, but if Caleb isn't the guy, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And so that's really that's the question is, like, how much you believe in Caleb. Because if he ends up not being the guy, you're just going to do the Mitch thing again, where your defense will absolutely be elite, but your offense will not be able to win games late.
Yeah, it's such a good point because everyone, wanted to go back in time and say, well, the Khalil Mack trade was a bad trade. The Khalil Mack trade didn't work out as well as you wanted it to work out, not because of Khalil Mack, because of Mitch.
Correct.
You had Mitch on a rookie deal. So you gave Khalil a lot of money, which meant that you didn't have a ton of free agency currency to get yourself out of it, and you gave up your draft picks, which meant you weren't able to draft your way out of it. So if Mitch had been even halfway better, the deal would have looked significantly, more appealing. Let me ask you guys this question. If you could do the Micah Parsons deal, which means it's going to be 2 first-round picks and some change, and you're going to have to pay him to be the highest-paid defensive player in the National Football League.
Yes.
Would you rather do that or give up a late second-round pick or whatever it would be, maybe a third-round pick for Trey Hendrickson and only have him for 2 or 3 years?
I think Trey Hendrickson might go for more than that, though.
I think Trey Hendrickson for a second-round pick is basically what anyone would be willing to give up.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, the Trey Henderson one would be interesting because that at least gives you more draft capital, obviously, going forward. Micah Parsons is such a difference maker, and you're right about the Mitch thing. Like, that's the thing is, like, you can't say the Khalil Mack trade was bad because the 2018 team was good enough to win a Super Bowl in my mind. Obviously, it didn't go that way because of the double doink and everything, but that was a Super Bowl caliber team, and what you were banking on was the next year Mitch got better and better and better, and that didn't happen. And that's where it all kind of fell apart because the quarterback didn't progress in the timeline that you had set up. So that's where it went astray. But yeah, the Trey Henderson thing would be interesting. That would be interesting. And I do think, like, paying Micah Parsons is no problem. That's the whole point of having a rookie quarterback. But again, it all goes back to Caleb. He's got to be the guy. And if he's the guy and you add Micah Parsons, now you're talking about a legitimate Super Bowl window.
Great stuff. Well, have a great weekend, and welcome back, okay?
Thank you.
And also, listen, I got injured, but I'm going to be on the mend soon. So I know you guys are very worried about me.
You okay? You okay?
I
right?
have a partially torn tear in my calf, but I'm okay.
What is partially torn? That's 3 partials.
I need physical therapy. No, nothing more than that.
No surgery.
The biggest problem with this is I'm too good at softball. I went 4 for 4, and I was on the base path too much, and that's when I hurt myself.
Oh, look! I love that.
Finally, I just want to leave you with this thought. Jack Flaherty was the Dodgers pitcher who started Game 2 of the World Series last year. As they won Major League Baseball. Currently, he's 6-10 with a 4.51.
Okay, but he was pitching out of his mind, was he not?
All I know is Jack Flaherty started Game 2 of the World Series for the Dodgers last year.
List their whole rotation. You don't think a rotation gets jumbled during the playoffs?
No, it doesn't. It's not allowed to be jumbled.
Okay. That makes sense.
Who started Game 1?
They didn't have great starters last year.
The Dodgers' offense was a lot better than this offense. This offense is good, but you're telling me that they were as good as the Dodgers last year, their offense?
Oh, wait a second. I take it back. Jack Flaherty started Game 1 of the World Series. My bad. Started
Who
game
else
one
is
of the
on
World
that
Series.
What did we
rotation? List their whole rotation, tough guy.
Well, why does it have to get to the tough guy level? Yamamoto started game 2. He had an ERA of 3.86 that year.
Shota's been better than Yamamoto.
Yeah, he had an ERA of almost 4 last year. Game 3 starter, Big Cat, was Walker Buehler.
Who's not even on the team anymore.
No, he had
But these guys were pitching great, and they all were like. And again, their offense was out of this world.
There's always an excuse.
See you, Big Cat.
Goodbye.
Just re-sign Kyle Schwarber. That's all I'll leave you with. If Kyle Tucker's not going to re-sign, bring back Kyle Schwarber. All will be forgiven.
Get that calf in shape, will you? Get that calf in shape.
What did we learn today from Big Cat? We learned that he doesn't like Shota.
No,
and
he wanted to trade
and
Kyle
he wants
Tucker.
to trade Kyle Tucker.
Yes.
It sounds like views from a Boston sports fan.
Wow.